Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now, and today, well, we got a lot to talk about here on a Monday edition of Philadelphia Eagles Now. I mean, goodness gracious, if you just look at the scoreboard, 30-16, you go, okay, the Eagles got blown out by the Packers. What a surprise. We expected this, but if you actually watch the game, like I know most of you guys did, there's a lot to get into. Starting, of course, with the Jalen Hurts being put into the game, Carson Wentz being benched, and where we go from here, along a lot of other news and rumors on today's video. First off, give me your one-word reaction to the Eagles' loss. One word to describe how you felt with the loss yesterday, and I'm going to say monumental. And the word is not a positive monumental. It could be a negative monumental, because it's a monumental day now in Philadelphia, as we've seen possibly a changing of the guard at quarterback. We'll talk more about that here in 1 second, but realistically, the Eagles' future at quarterback and the future of the organization could have shifted yesterday. Whether that's for good or for bad will yet to be seen. But it's a monumental Monday here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm glad you guys are joining us here to break this all down. Let's start with our Week 13 overreaction, starting with the big one, right? Carson Wentz. Will he or won't he start next week? People on Twitter are already debating, will he start next week? I doubt it. I honestly say there's probably a 0% chance that Carson Wentz starts this week, or I guess next week, whatever, Sunday against the New Orleans Saints at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time. And here's the reason. Doug Peterson, mum was the word today on 94.1 WIP during his weekly, or I guess Monday radio interview on the morning show over there. And he was asked point blank who starts at quarterback, and he said, we don't know. We'll watch film. We'll evaluate. Whenever a head coach says that, he basically means we're going to stick with the guy that we moved to, and that, of course, was Jalen Hurts. Let's look at Wentz's day yesterday. Nothing special. 6 of 15, 79 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. I think the benching really came on the back of 3 big plays. So first off, the one play that really must have infuriated Doug Peterson was the deep crosser to the tight end. I don't know if it was Ertz or Goddard, one of the two. I want to say it was Goddard, but he was running wide open in the middle of the football field. His defender had fallen down. They schemed him open well. Carson Wentz, clean pocket, underthrew him. Now, had he led Goddard, that's probably a 60 or 70-yard touchdown pass. Instead, it was a 40-yard gain. Now, again, the 40-yard gain looks good because Philadelphia doesn't have a lot of those this year, but Doug Peterson knew at that point that Wentz, again, the accuracy issues were a mega problem. Then, later on in that exact same drive, they're back inside Packer territory, and then Wentz inside field goal range takes back-to-back sacks on second and third down, putting the Eagles out of field goal range. At that point, it was essentially a 4-point game with 7-3. Those are infuriating plays. They're back-breaking plays. They're plays that Carson Wentz can just not do. There's also one on the opening drive. Whenever they were down the football field, he had Ward on a crosser wide open through that fade route to Boston Scott, which not a bad throw, but Ward was wide open right in front of him, would have been a first down. So the plays continue to add up of Carson Wentz making either poor decisions, throwing the football, poor decisions, holding on to the football, or not just finding open targets. And the last straw, it was the final straw, and Doug Peterson knew it, and he had to go ahead and try to provide a spark, and he put Jalen Hurts in. Now, Hurts is going to start next week because he did look marginally better. Now, the stats aren't necessarily anything to write home about. 5 of 12 for 109, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. He was sacked 3 times, so a total of 7 sacks given up by the atrocious offensive line, which continues to be a mega problem in Philadelphia. The 1 pick, not really Hurts' fault. Not sure that it would have been completed anyway, but he had a guy in his face, and so, throwing the ball, didn't really get to step into it. So, I don't want to blame Hurts there. But the reason we're talking about it today, the deep ball to Jalen Reagor, which was perfectly thrown, and one of the better deep balls we've seen all year long. He had the 4th and 18 touchdown pass to Greg Ward to get them back in this football game, and overall provided a good spark. Now, running with his legs is the reason why Jalen Hurts has always been a very good quarterback, not just throwing the football, but the fact the Eagles' offensive line is so bad, it shows that if you have a guy like Hurts in there, he can scramble and make plays with his legs. A couple of big first downs picked up there from the running standpoint. I don't think Hurts was earth-shatteringly good yesterday. People want to say, like, oh my gosh, like, he was so much better than Carson Wentz. He wasn't that much better. He just made a couple of better throws, a couple of better plays, and did overall provide a better spark. At the moment, you probably want to start Jalen Hurts if you're trying to win football games. But with that being said, and I do think they should start Hurts on Sunday. Don't get me wrong. I've been a Hurts critic for a very long time. Not a fan of the whole draft pick. That's a whole different issue. But the main thing that Philadelphia now has to figure out is, what do you do with a dead paperweight that will be Carson Wentz if he rides your bench the remainder of the year? It's no secret that the odds of Jalen Hurts starting the next 4 games is very high. I think he will, barring an injury or horrific play. You could see Carson Wentz put back in there. But if he doesn't, then you have Carson Wentz, who you did give the most guaranteed money of a quarterback ever in the NFL history, before, of course, all the other deals that happened after his. But he essentially has all this dead money that you can't do anything about. So this whole idea that they can just go to Jalen Hurts and then keep Hurts as the starter next year and get rid of Carson Wentz is impossible. Listen, if you cut Carson Wentz next offseason, you will go ahead and accumulate $59 million of dead cap money. 59. that's like an NFL record. That would wreck your franchise. Let me just sum this up in simple English. 0% chance that you can trade or you can cut Carson Wentz next year. Now, how about a trade? You can do it. You'd still eat about $25 million in dead cap money, and you'd have to do it before the first 3 days of the new league year. New league year starts sometime in January or sometime in February after the Super Bowl, whenever it is. You got to do it immediately after the start of the new league year, or else you're going to accrue even more dead money. Not $59 million, but still a lot of money. So trading him saves them a little bit, but either way, you're hurting the future of the franchise by eating dead money in a quarterback that you really gave the keys to the castle to. You loved what he did in year 2. You like what he did in year 3 before the injury. He was a great quarterback that you did not put weapons around, did not protect on the offensive line, and then drafted his replacement in year 4 of his career that has created this quarterback controversy from day 1 of 2020 here back in April whenever they drafted Jalen Hurts. Now, again, Wentz has been awful. The regression is incredible, but the Eagles have now dug themselves a massive, massive hole, and the only way that this gets fixed is, one, if Jalen Hurts turns out to be an all-star, a Pro Bowl caliber, once-in-a-lifetime quarterback, and you can say, guess what? We had a good guy, didn't work out, but then we drafted an even better guy. Hurts is the guy the rest of the time, which maybe it happens, right? Who knows? Or you somehow figure out a way to get Carson Wentz back out on the football field and you fix him. But I don't think the second one or the first one is likely to happen. I think the Eagles now have to just kind of ride and live with the sins of their past in terms of drafting a quarterback and not drafting enough help and getting enough help around Carson Wentz. Now, Hurts will be the guy this week. I mean, I'm going to get him, put my money where my mouth is, I would say. Hurts is going to start a quarterback in Philadelphia this week. That is not going to be a shocker to anybody, even though they have not officially announced it. But this is a monumental day in Philadelphia because things are changing. And I know it looks good from a quarter's perspective. Like, he looked good. He had a touchdown drive, and then Rager had the punt return. It was like, oh my gosh, the Eagles are relevant again. And maybe he wins against the Saints on Sunday, and we'll reevaluate him again based on his performance in all 4 quarters of a football game. But the Eagles have a major issue going into 2021, and it just got a lot worse with Carson Wentz's dead money and contract now riding the bench and looking like a broken and ruined guy who at once was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the National Football League. I'll ask you guys this. I think we all know the answer. Who starts at quarterback next week, Wentz or Hurts? Type W down below for Wentz. Type H down below for Hurts. And also, make sure you guys are subscribed because eventually they'll announce who the starter is this week. And when they do, we'll break it all down here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Also, join our notification gang by clicking the notification bell down below by the subscription button. That way you're notified whenever that video goes ahead and drops. So all you got to do, again, is go to the settings here in the app. You just scroll down, tap notifications, tap allow notifications. That's the best way to go ahead and be notified. Also, just hit the bell down below where the little red subscription box is. Okay, let's move on to some other thoughts here from the game on Sunday. Listen, Alshon Jeffrey is washed. We know this. The question I have is, why is Alshon Jeffrey getting more snaps than Travis Fulgham? Why is Jeffrey even playing? Because you watch the game, he has 1 catch, which of course is called back because he pushed off for an offensive pass interference. Other than that, complete non-factor. So here is your snap count at wide receiver versus Green Bay. Rager and Ward each got 44 snaps, most of any wide receiver. That's good. But then Jeffrey got 35, Fulgham got 25, and Hightower got 18. Please explain to me why Alshon Jeffrey deserves 10 more snaps than Travis Fulgham and almost 2 times the amount of snaps to John Hightower when he does this. 1 target, 0 catches, nothing. Literally nothing. Now, I understand that Travis Fulgham has not done well the past couple of weeks. Only 2 targets, no catches, had a big drop on 3rd down and whatever it was by a good throw, back shoulder from Jalen Hurts. But still, one of these guys is not going to be here in 2021. That's Alshon Jeffrey, and one is going to be potentially the future wide receiver, and Travis Fulgham and John Hightower. Why aren't you using them? Get them reps. I don't care if they're not playing well. It's not like Jeffrey's playing well either. He's a complete non-factor out there. He gives you nothing on offense, at least nothing more than what Fulgham would do or even John Hightower would do. I get that all 3 of those guys are not good. The Eagle wide receiver core has been, bottom of the league all year long. But the fact that Jeffrey's getting 10 more snaps than Fulgham, even though he's done nothing each of the last 3 weeks he's been in there, it makes no sense. It's the dumbest thing in the entire world. Drop a like if you guys think Fulgham does need to get more snaps. He was really good early, maybe kind of, slumped a little bit, overthinking some things, trying to play too hard. But the fact that he is getting less snaps than Jeffrey is the dumbest thing I've seen in a very, very long time. And the Eagles have done a lot of dumb things this year. Moving on to some more thoughts here, our Week 13 overreactions. Darius Slay is getting worked, and I see a lot of people giving a lot of hate to the cornerback on Twitter. Listen, he should be a lot better. They paid him a lot of money and traded for him in the offseason. Had some tough matchups, and apparently he now has a calf injury or a knee injury on top of the calf injury he suffered in practice this week. And so the question will be up, can he play on Sunday to go ahead and shadow Michael Thomas? But let me just say this, Slay's got some pretty pretty tough matchups. They're putting him on islands against the top receivers in the National Football League. Talk about Davante Adams yesterday. I mean, it was one-on-one. They gave very little safety help, which, I guess you get because you want to keep those safeties in the middle of the football field to go ahead and help with other receivers in Green Bay. But the fact that they're going one-on-one time and time again, eventually you got to realize 10 catches, $121, and 2 tutties for Davante Adams. Got to give him some help. And I listen, you paid Slay big money. He's got to play better. But really, there's only one elite cornerback right now in the National Football League. His name is Jalen Ramsey. He's the only one that you can truly go one-on-one with all day long and not give up any sort of stats. And you got to look. I mean, listen, Slay's had a tough matchup. Adams this week. Last week, DK Metcalf worked him, even though I thought that he battled well. He's losing out on the 50-50 balls, and that's kind of the issue right now for Darius Slay. He's playing good defense. He's playing good coverage. He's just losing on those touchdown passes, those deep balls, those jump balls. And he admitted on Twitter he's got to play better. But still, I do think that Slay was a great addition this offseason. I think Slay will be a great addition going forward. He's the best cornerback Philly's had in a long time. I just don't know if he is elite enough to go one-on-one in the modern National Football League every single play against the Adams and the Metcalfs of the world, because really the only one who can do that right now is Jalen Ramsey, and he gets paid a ton of money overall. What's your guys' thoughts on the Eagles' defense as a whole on Sunday? I don't think that they were terrible. The rushing touchdown late in the game to kind of seal it was a backbreaker. You can't let that happen. But overall, I mean, they got stops, and they put this team in a place to win, as they've done each of the last couple of weeks. Philadelphia's offense unable to overcome all the issues that they have, as of course they do. But let me tell you, I do think the Eagle defense it's one of those defenses that's good enough to win a playoff game, but they're not going to get there because the offense is just so bad. Final thoughts here. The NFC East is lost. Is it? Almost. I mean, it's basically to the point where we can concede the NFC East just based on what happened yesterday. Although before we do that, I'm going to give a shout out to our friends at BetUS. Do you guys think the Eagles can still win the NFC East, or the Giants are going to win the NFC East? Or you just want to bet on some NFL games tonight on a Monday or going forward next week, going with our friends at BetUS? Go to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Use that promo code EAGLES125 for a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. And you put $100 down, turns into $225 for your betting pleasure. I made a lot of money yesterday betting on some other NFL games that were not Eagles related. You guys can go ahead and do the same. Here's your NFC East standings right now. Yesterday, the worst thing that happened besides the Eagle loss was the Giants' victory behind Colt McCoy in Seattle. Mind-blowing. I mean, they really worked Russell Wilson, got multiple turnovers, and are starting to figure things out on offense. Joe Judge looked like the worst hire of the offseason. He's looking pretty good as a Giants head coach. Technically, Philadelphia, 2 games back. The tie is helping them here, so not mathematically eliminated, but let's be honest. Look at the schedule. Are they going to be the Saints next week? I don't think so. What about Arizona? What about you go ahead and play the Dallas Cowboys there on the 27th? What about the Washington football team on the 3rd? I mean, you look at this schedule overall, you start to go, where's your win? Maybe Dallas? So obviously if they go one for their next 4 and 1-3 over a 4-game stretch, they're not going to make the postseason. You basically have to win 3 of the next 4. Means you got to beat the Saints on Sunday, and it does not to me look like they're going to be able to do so. The Giants, they have Arizona and the Browns. Those are 2 good football teams. They also have the Ravens as well. It's a good football team, but overall, I think that their schedule is a little bit easier than what Philadelphia has, and obviously the Giants have showed that they are a better football team overall. So right now, honestly, I think the Eagles need to go for that draft pick, and I'm against tanking, and they obviously won't tank, but I'm almost hoping that they don't win the NFC East just so they get a high draft pick, because right now, if you were to finish the season today, Dallas would have the 5th pick, the Eagles have the 6th pick in the draft, Washington would be number 11, and then the NFC East champs, the Giants, would go to 19th. So even though the Eagles have a terrible record, if they were to win the NFC East, they still would, at best, have the 19th overall draft pick just based on the way the draft picks work. So if they don't win the NFC East, it's basically a lock to be a top 10 pick. If they win the NFC East somehow, I'll be happy because you want to go to the playoffs any year. Maybe they're hot on Jalen Hurts, who knows, but that draft pick becomes significantly less important there in the first round. I think number 6 overall, Philadelphia can do a lot of damage in terms of getting the right player, Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons, a Gregory Rosé, whatever you want. We'll talk more about the draft, obviously, in the coming weeks and months. There you go, though. Ultimately, up for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. Again, a monumental Monday, and we're going to see what happens this week in terms of news and rumors. We'll cover it all on Philadelphia Eagles Now, but a changing of the guard at quarterback for better or for worse, and we're going to have to sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the ride, whether we love it or hate it, because that's what happens when you are a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. Ultimately, up for today here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm your host, Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.